We all love a good comeback story. The failure experienced in the first chapter is often what makes the ultimate victory in the final one all the more sweet. Our latest example of a comeback story in the world of sports, the Purdue Boilermakers. Last March, they went through an embarrassing, heartbreaking loss to 16-seeded Fairleigh Dickinson. However, as we've seen in 2024, that hasn't been the end of their story. Zach Edey and Matt Painter have guided Purdue out of the depths of purgatory and to the gates of the Final Four. The 1980 Mr. Olympia, perhaps the most controversial sports result that you probably don't know about. On paper, it was a 7th Olympia title for perhaps the most iconic bodybuilder of all time, Arnold Schwarzenegger. However, the story behind the Austrian Oaks final title has far more than meets the naked eye. So come around to the big board and learn about the biggest robbery in professional bodybuilding history. And with these dumbbells totally not being placed here on purpose, we might as well get a sick arm pump too. Now, the story really starts 5 years ago before stage day. In 1975, Arnold retired from professional bodybuilding to become a movie star following a 6-year run at the top of the sport. But after a few years of starring in Hollywood, Schwarzenegger got that itch to compete on the bodybuilding stage once again. Fantastic stuff as always, Riley. Well, I'd say it's about time we pulled a Michael Jordan and abruptly switched sports here in the stew. Let's flip from the gridiron to the hardwood, boys. Starting with the ladies of Virginia Tech women's basketball. They dropped a spot in the AP poll after the loss to Iowa, but they're sitting at 2-1, a 69-point win against Houston Christian last night. Program record. Carter, I'll start with you. What are your early impressions of this year's version of VT Women's Hoop?
Absolutely, that's right, Rob. Well, for a Rutgers squad that's been much maligned in past years, allow me a minute or two to just change your mind on the Scarlet Knights in 2023. For starters, let's talk about that defense, where domination is the only word that comes to mind. The stifling Scarlet Knights have allowed 14 total points through 2 contests, both being decisive wins over Northwestern and Temple, with a staggering 23-point victory margin. The key to Rutgers' defensive masterclass, you ask? 3 words: stopping the run. The Knights have allowed just 40 yards on the ground per game, which is good for 3rd in the entire country. The Steel City, a place where football is intertwined in the hearts of every Yinzer, from the northern banks of the Allegheny River to the sublime south side skyline. Now, I hope you didn't mistake me for talking about Pittsburgh's resident NFL team. Apologies to all the terrible towel lovers across the world, present company included. No, we're talking about the passionate Panthers of Pittsburgh, whose story is far less known. Pittsburgh may host little brother birthday party turnouts for their Saturday bouts at Acrisure Stadium compared to the heavyweight festivities of an NFL Sunday, but the Panthers' legacy has been as good as gold in recent memory.
March might be the month of madness, but it's also the month of spring training, right? Baseball. Let's head to the MLB for our next Come On Man, where we have spring training game. It's the Rays and the Tigers. Cameron Meisner skies one out to short right center field. Who's going to get it? Who's going to get it? Nobody's going to get it. And Wenzel Perez scorpion kicks it into right field. That nearly gets to the warning track. They're sending Meisner around 3rd, and he's rolling it home. That's an inside the park home run. And look at that. Come on, man.
A battle between 2 bubble teams set to commence here for the ACC Tournament quarterfinals. It's the 4th-seeded Pittsburgh Panthers taking on the 5th-seeded Wake Forest Demon Deacons from Capital One Arena. For 3304 Sports, I'm Will Locklin here with Nels Williams. And Nels, let's just put this short and sweet. Both these teams are in must-win position to win this game. Greetings inside Jones C. Edwards Stadium, the site of an exciting college football noon matchup between the 1-2 Virginia Tech Hokies and the 2-0 Marshall Thundering Herd. Now the storyline here, will Grant Wells play or not for the Virginia Tech Hokies? As of course both Hokies and Herd fans know, Wells was the starting quarterback for Marshall just a couple seasons ago. Stop me if you've heard this before. NC State beats North Carolina in the ACC championship game located in the greater DMV area. Well, that's because it has happened before. 37 years ago, when Jim Valvano's Wolfpack upset Dean Smith's top-seeded Tar Heels in the old Capitol Center building in Landover, Maryland. And while the parallels, they don't stop there. The 87 squad finished the regular season at 17-13 with a 42% conference win percentage. An eerie mirror image of this 2024 team.
The Battle of the Techs goes the Hokies' way, as Virginia Tech sends Georgia Tech to a watery grave in a 91-67 thrashing inside Castle Coliseum on Saturday evening.
Up next at 7 p.m., it's NC State and Syracuse. And to follow that at 9:30, the nightcap. Bring your caffeine and your coffee for that one, because it's Boston College and Clemson. We'll have all the coverage tonight for 3304 Sports.
Absolutely, and for you, Georgia,
So a couple weeks ago, I saw Kenny post a video of you on Twitter just saying how you guys were working on your finishing skills and just trying to improve, off of what was a fantastic junior season into your senior year. What have those workouts been like with Kenny and just fine-tuning and polishing your game in this offseason?
Yeah, I think coming to Virginia Tech, I never really was a shooter, but then I transformed into a three-point shooter, and now that's kind of been my game. Well, since last year and the end of last year specifically, people definitely picked up on that, so they're definitely going to play me much different and probably more of a focal point on that. So for us, it's just really been like mid-range and finishing and finding other ways outside of my traditional game. Now, a big thing that he stressed for me is that everything that I'm able to do is because of my three-point shot. Like, I'm not going to completely disabandon that. But yeah, a lot of it's just been mid-range and pace and tempo and playing with a sense of physicality for, college, but further on, I'm small, so I'm going to have to use my stature and my strength. So just learning to play like a 6-foot athletic man that's played for how many years?
Well, and Kenny, you've thrown out that term that Georgia's like a mini-me of you and how she shadows so much of your coaching. Georgia, how valuable has that coaching been, and how special is it that Kenny mentors you and every player in this program over the years, one-on-one, in addition to all the stuff on the team level?
Yeah, it's very different. Obviously, on court, I don't think I've ever really been in a situation where I have equity or I have say, or he listens to me and values my opinions and actually wants to hear from not only me but whatever Liz is seeing and whatever Kayla's seeing. It's just having open communication, and that's so valuable because it instills confidence in us.
25-16, Pitt over Wake Forest, 7:52 to go in the first half. Federico at the top of the key, now to Hinson. He unloads a three ball from deep and comes up way short on that one. That one hitting the net, but not the bottom. Zach Austin hustled down for the rebound, wasn't able to corral it in, so it's off the Panthers. Turnover there, 6th of the contest, and Wake Forest will have it moving right to left. With Kevin Miller and a Carr at the top of the key. Hildreth from that same spot. They'll lob it into Reed, who slams it down with two hands. An alley-oop to perfection. Hildreth to Reed. 25-18. Wake Forest cuts the deficit down to 7 with 7:22 to go in the first half. Now Lowe at the ACC tournament logo. Gets it to Zach Austin, who unloads the three ball. That one hits the front side of the iron. Reed scrums for the rebound, and Carr ends up with it. Wake Forest, a chance to cut into the Pitt advantage even more. 25-18 still, 7 to go in the first half. Wake Forest goes ring around the rosy on the perimeter. Hildreth, crossover dribble to his left, stops his dribble now, and they'll give off to Hunter Salas. Salas operating it with Leggett. It's poked away by Leggett, and that's going to be a turnover on Hunter Salas and Wake Forest. Salas has been limited to 0 for 2 from the field. He has 0 points, in part due to the defense of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, neutralizing Hunter Salas was certainly atop of the key bullet points for a win under Pitt's book. And if Salas is 0 for 2, he's really had no opportunity to create his own shots. It's mainly been Cameron Hildreth and Efton Reed applying pressure down low.
Federico to the left wing now with Lowe. Lowe, a drive and kick. They'll get it to the corner with Carrington. He drives, fades away from 10 feet, and knocks it through. Carlton Carrington elevates Pitt's advantage back up to 9. Wake Forest ushering it up the floor the other way. 6:18 to go on the game clock, 18 on the shot clock. Hildreth now to Salas, still scoreless in this bubble matchup. It's knocked away by Leggett again. Panthers with a 3-on-2 fast break. Lowe has it on the left wing. Panthers intent on slowing things down. Jalen Lowe, the freshman guard from Missouri City, Tennessee. He drives to the cup, scoop shot, rejected out of bounds. Efton Reed with the righteous right-handed rejection. And so Pitt will have it baseline out of bounds, still up 9.
How about that from Hunter Salas flying in? Efton Reed was there, but he decided to make the extra team play. 2 guys falling down on the baseline. A great block there and another reset for Wake Forest.
Stolen away by Kevin Miller on the fast break. He lays it in with the right hand. How about that steal and layup on the one end to the other? Puts Wake Forest down to 7, 27-20, 5:35 remaining in the first half. Federico on the left wing, now to Carlton, top of the key. They'll skip it over to Leggett, unloads a 3-ball from that right wing, and comes up way short, an air ball from Ishmael Leggett, the ACC Sixth-Man of the Year. Wake Forest a chance to make this a 5 or 4 point game. They get into Reed, who's doubled. Kick out, one more pass. It's Andrew Carr, a flyby triple is no good. And the rebound, it'll be Wake Forest ball. As Efton Reed and Federico went flying in for the board, and it's knocked off of Reed, who wants a replay review. But for now, it's Pittsburgh basketball, and Reed will head now to the bench. 5:06 to go, Pittsburgh up 27-20. The ACC logo is low. They get it into Hinson at the top of the key. Hinson, a right-handed dribble. He has a size mismatch, takes advantage, drives all the way to the cup, kicks it out to Carlton. He'll redrive, fading away from 10. Can't get that jumper to fall. Tipped by Federico, but into the hands of Salas and the Demon Deacons. Wake Forest down 7 still, as Carr puts it back to Kevin Miller. Miller driving inside at the ACC logo, stolen away by Leggett. Ball strung forward on the floor. It's picked up by Federico. Panthers with it again. Another chaotic sequence here in this game with the Panthers up 7. Right corner triple, Carrington. Hits the backside of the iron and out. Panthers are going cold. Can the Demon Deacons take advantage? Spin move all the way to the lane. Cameron Hildreth couldn't get the shot to fall. And Federico and the Panthers corral in the board.
Virginia Tech continues its home dominance against their in-state rival, bludgeoning Virginia 75-41, marking the second largest blowout in Commonwealth Clash history.
Coming into the Big Monday showcase, Virginia Tech had won the past 3 matchups of this rivalry at home, and after a low-scoring defensive first 10 minutes, the Hokies finally broke through again. Following a Jordan Minor and one, Tech went on a scintillating 20-0 offensive run that spanned nearly the latter 10 minutes of the first half, where the Hokies shot 50% from the floor and held Virginia scoreless for 9 minutes of game time.
It's just an easy game, and we sometimes complicate it. This team sometimes has complicated it, and it's frustrated the hell out of me. But we've had great spurts, and we had 40 minutes of really, really good offensive basketball, both ends of the floor basketball tonight.
With a 30-point halftime lead, all the Hokies had to do in the second half was press cruise control. Tech saw 4 double-figure scorers on the night, all of which were front-court players who combined for a point total that added up to 51.
Just sharing the ball, being like I said, physicality and toughness. Not only on the defensive end, but I feel like that's prevalent on the offensive end. That's catching it in our spots. Not getting bumped off. And then when we do have it down low, when we feed Mila and Lynn down low, just kind of spacing out, playing off them. They whether they go baseline or middle, kind of determines what I play off them.
The 34-point victory was one shy of the record for margin of victory set in 1961 in the Commonwealth Clash. In the third straight season, the Hokies and Hoos have split the series. But for Mike Young and his men, this one was about settling the score to a rival and setting themselves up for a late February push this season.
Up next for Virginia Tech, it's a trip up north to the Steel City, where the Hokies will play the Pittsburgh Panthers for a 5:30 tip this Saturday. Will Locklin reporting for 3304 Sports in Castle Coliseum.